Hi there, and welcome to changelifeforever.co.uk. It's Scott, your host, talking. And today we're going to talk about stop passing the buck and take responsibility in life. Because I think at some time or another, most of us through life have blamed someone else or blamed something or kind of looked at a situation and went, it wasn't me. And I remember when I was a kid and kind of anything went wrong, my mum would walk in the room and say to my brother, "Did you do that?" And he'd say, "No, it was Scott. It was him, Mum, honestly." And he would refuse to admit or take responsibility for what he'd done wrong. And he consistently blamed me all the way. It was always my fault. And it's quite funny because I think most people do that because accepting that you've done something wrong is really, really hard for people to do because you think that you're going to get scolded or you think that you're going to be in trouble for something. So people hide away from those problems. And it is quite easy if you stop passing the buck. Because when you take responsibility for what you've done, you can work out what went wrong. You can look inside yourself and say, yeah, I did that wrong. Oh my God, I made a massive mistake, but I stick my hand up and I won't ever do it again. And people will help you, and people would rather know the truth than they would you actually passing the buck and not taking responsibility for your life. And kind of, there's more examples. I work with lots of big industries, and kind of they bring out lots of different solutions for how to manage projects and programs like waterfall and agile. And when it comes down to it, most of those individual teams work in silos, they work individually, they don't work together as a team. So when you get them handing off from one team to another, there's things that are wrong, there's dates that aren't delivered. And generally, what happens is one group will blame another rather than working together and working out where the problem is, where things went wrong. They actually just blame each other. And that means that passing the buck somewhere else means that things don't get done and things overrun, and it just creates a massive horde of problems. Whereas if you get the teams to gel together, work together, like you would in a football team or a rugby team, you chuck the ball to someone. If you throw a bad ball and they drop it, it's not their fault for dropping it, it's your fault for not passing the ball in the right way. So I think when you look at life, if you can look at it and you can say, yes, I will take responsibility for this. I own this. I own everything that I do. And when you make a mistake, when you do something wrong, you can put your hand up, you can admit it, and you can feel safe knowing that the outcome will be a better outcome than it would be if you hide away or blame someone else. And we all do it. It's like in families, we can blame each other for different things that happen. Someone smashed a dish or, something didn't get done. And all of a sudden, we're blaming people within our household for stuff that is going to make them feel horrible. And if you've ever been blamed yourself, you'll know how horrible that feeling is. You'll know what it's like when you're waiting for somebody to find out what you've done and then probably punish you for it. But if you work on the other way and you put your hand up and you take responsibility for that and you don't pass the buck, then things will work out better. Or I was saying that I remember when I was a kid as well. I was playing football in the house. A bit stupid, really, to be honest. And I kind of hit the ball and it hit the telly. And my mum's statue on the top of the telly, she'd saved up years for. It was her most precious thing. Fell off the telly, smashed on the floor. And when she come in, I ran straight up to her and I was crying my eyes out, "Mum, Mum, 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 I'm really sorry, I'm really sorry." And she was like, "What have you done? What have you done?" And I went in and she was angry, but because I admitted what I'd done wrong, she didn't punish me. She understood. She wasn't very happy about me playing football in the house, but she understood and she was grateful that I came forward and actually told her because I could have just glued the tail back on it and just left it and hope she didn't notice. But that's kind of deceitful. And when you take responsibility, the punishment isn't as bad as you think it will be. But if you pass the buck to somebody else and you blame that other person, you've got the guilt of knowing that that person actually hasn't done anything wrong anyway. It wasn't their fault. And communally, whether we're in a family, whether we're at work, we should work together. We should help each other. Our job is to make our lives better, to support each other, to big each other up, to make sure that we as a family or whatever work together. We understand each other, we're empathic to each other, there are no secrets, and we kind of guide each other in the right way, which means that, when something does go wrong, you just need to learn to stop passing the buck, suck it up, and take that courage inside to go, I'm really sorry, it was me. And then later on, you take responsibility for your actions, you make sure that you never do it again, and you learn from your mistakes. But you really do have to make sure that you are taking that responsibility, because that doesn't sit with anyone else, and it will make you become a better person by understanding what you are capable of, admitting things. You also don't get that intrusive thought problem where you're then going away thinking about it. Oh my God, I did this today, and I blame someone else, and what happens if someone finds out? Because all those thoughts that you have in your head just really coincide to bad mental health issues, stress, anxiety, and everything else. But it's forced upon us, when actually what we should do is keep hold of that book ourselves and go, yeah, it was me. I am so sorry. What can I do to make it better? What can I do to make sure that the outcome is a better one? And that is by admitting it. And it is by sticking your hand up. And when you're at school as well, the teacher will go, who did that? And everyone will go, it wasn't me, but it was someone. And then everybody gets detention or whatever, just because somebody threw a book or made a noise or whatever, because no one likes to take responsibility when they've done something wrong. They may think it's funny when they do it in the first place, but then they'll pass the buck to someone else to say, it wasn't me, miss, it was them. Or it wasn't me, mum, it was him. And that just leads to a pathway where you were avoiding taking responsibility yourself. And if you can learn to be told off, if you can learn that it's okay to do things wrong, then you will avoid a load of stress and a load of anxiety. And I know my son, he's got great manners. He's a lovely lad and I adore him. And, the other week, he kind of spoke out of turn to my wife, and I was like, hold on a minute, that's not you. And I took him upstairs and I said, look, do you think that was like you normally act? And he said, no, it isn't, Dad, but I'm under all this stress, I'm having all these problems, and I just took it out on Karen, and kind of it made him realize and take responsibility for his action. He apologized straight away because he knew that he was in the wrong, but he's never liked being told off. So the way that I've had to approach it with him is by having a conversation, trying to understand emotionally why he did those things. What was it that made you pass that book and take it out on my wife? Why did you do that? And not in an aggressive way, but in a way that he could simply understand why not taking responsibility for his actions would have worked out worse. Because if he hadn't have admitted it, then I probably would have said, you're being rude, I don't want you to do it again, I'm not happy, and everything else. And when you're assertive to people like that, they do feel as if they are being cussed, they do feel as if they've done something wrong. So it's about nurturing that out to people so you can make them feel that they don't need to pass the buck, that they can take responsibility, because life is about growing, it's about finding out more about ourselves. So make sure that you're not passing the buck on to anybody else. Take responsibility for your own life. And I'll see you on the blog at changelifeforever.co.uk/blog. And again, if you want to join my transformation program and learn different things about happiness, life, being courageous, all that good stuff, then come and visit me at changelifeforever.co.uk. And I'll speak to you soon. All my best wishes, Scott.